Mark is the director of the Nuffield Foundation. We're really grateful to the Foundation for supporting the work of the Institute, for making this event possible. Mark, over to you.
Thank you very much. I should say I'm a director of the Nuffield Foundation, as my boss is here. But thank you for those introductory comments, and thank you all for being here. And to those joining online, for what I'm sure is going to be a fascinating and important event. So I am Mark Franks. I'm the director of the welfare domain at the Nuffield Foundation, and we fund research that drives social change and improves people's lives. And the Pissarides review fits absolutely perfectly with those interests, and it's one of our most largest and ambitious projects. Now, there's a fantastic lineup of speakers arranged, and you'll be anxious to hear from them, as am I. But if you'll indulge me for a few moments, I'd like to say briefly why I think this is absolutely the right project at the right time. And in doing so, I'll focus particularly on the theme of inequality, which is a particular interest for the Nuffield Foundation. And I'll draw on findings from other Nuffield-funded research as I do so. So in terms of income, the UK is one of the most unequal countries in the developed world. Low-income households in the UK are now 22% poorer than their counterparts in France. And that's an income gap of £3,800 per year, and with a similar gap in relation to Germany. And where you live within the UK makes a huge difference. So we know that income per person in Kensington and Chelsea was 4.5 times that of Nottingham in 2019. And also wide inequalities according to ethnicity. So employees of Black, African, Caribbean, Pakistani and Bangladeshi origin earn significantly less than white British employees on average. And even though people of Indian and Chinese heritage actually do relatively well in the labour market, even those groups earn less than you'd expect once you'd accounted for their educational and other characteristics. And significant inequalities also persist in relation to gender. Working women earn 19% less per hour than men, and beside the effect of women's rising education attainment over time, that gap isn't narrowing. And part of the reason for that persistent gender gap is that many mothers currently sacrifice pay and progression to secure more flexibility, and some employers see such flexibility as incompatible with holding senior roles. Now, layered over those types of inequalities, volatile monthly incomes are a norm for a large share of the population, especially the low-paid, who are the most likely to experience monthly falls in pay. And I've focused on pay, but I could have just as easily talked about employment, hours worked, or the nature of work. There's huge inequalities in all of these dimensions. And I've also talked about inequalities as they stand now. But the Pissarides review is particularly focusing on how technology is changing people's experiences of work. And adoption of new technologies within a firm or industry might see some workers losing their jobs or experiencing downward pay pressure, while others performing tasks more complementary to the new technology might benefit in terms of employment. So while technology and technological change can be a force for good, the effects on employees won't be felt equally. And left unchecked, such change risks making the inequalities in our labour market and society wider still. And so with its focus on labour market frictions, the Pissarides review rightly recognises that work is about more than a single job or set of tasks, but about people's trajectory over their whole lifetimes and their capabilities to function in a changing world. And a happy and healthy workforce will surely also be more productive, which in the current economic context is surely as important as ever. So I've quoted a number of Nuffield-supported studies, and I should also mention that we created and support the Ada Lovelace Institute, which is at the forefront of understanding the relationship between digital advances and individual and societal well-being. And research, furthermore, is still underway, supported by the Foundation. So the Pissarides review complements other major Nuffield projects examining the UK's economic strategy, its skill needs, and the inequalities in our economy and society. And in what I know is a challenging funding environment, the Foundation remains open to doing still more to support research vital for the UK's future prosperity and well-being across our core areas of education, welfare and justice. So I look forward to hearing more in the coming session about the connection between well-being and work, and the insights over the rest of the day about that connection and how we might seize the opportunities it offers. Thank you.